opposition.
Alright.
Reminds the speakers that we have an audience and therefore we have to be good.
Oh, thank you.
I think she's in the behaviour.
Bitchy chairwoman.
Helen.
Okay.
Just trying to make it a bit more lively.
I'll just jump straight into it rather than saying thank you. Right. I'm going to start with a couple of points of rebuttals. First, I'm going to talk about mental institutions and the protection that the state should be providing to these people. Then I'm going to talk about the pill as a use of contraception and how it's massively problematic. And then I'm going to talk about the problem of using mental age as a measure of mental illness, which isn't really a measure of mental illness. Right. My first point of rebuttal is that is there a massive outbreak of people having sex whilst under a mental age? These people are with carers. These people are constantly looked after 24 hours a day. By nature of the fact that they are under the mental age of 16, they are not able to comprehend things like sex necessarily. And secondly, that the state sector is not as bad as everyone. No, thank you. The state sector is not as bad as people like to think. It's not. You don't instantly automatically get a bad education if you're taken into the care of the state. Right, I'm now going to move on to my first point, which is the protection of the state. No, thank you. The role of the state the role of the state is to protect people to protect these people from harm. These people are under the care of the state. If you have a carer, the state pays for carers to look after these people. If they are so mentally ill they have to be in an institution, they are looked after by people who are running the institution, which is paid for by the state. We live in a welfare state, which means that we look after these people. We don't let them run about and start randomly having sex with prostitutes or randomly having sex with anyone.
On that.
Yeah, go on.
Yeah, the reason for that is because if they have a child, they'll be incapable of properly caring for that child.
Yes, but the point that the opposition say is that they should already be properly cared for, so that they're not going having sex under the mental age where they should legally get to have sex.
On that.
No. So the state should be protecting people in these cases. The state shouldn't be allowing people to have sex when they're under the mental age of 16. It should just not be allowed. You should not. No, thank you. If you're under the mental age of 16, you're with the care of someone else. You are under the care of the state, or you're under the care of a carer, be it a parent or anyone else. You shouldn't be allowed to have sex. The state should be protecting these people from that, and this mechanism shouldn't be needed. The state should be more effective at applying those rules. No, thank you. Right, I'm now going to move on to the pill as a method of contraception. The pill is a hormone treatment. As most of the room will know, the pill actually affects people's hormones. It has many side effects. No, sorry, please, no, the pill can have side effects. The pill can have side effects. It can cause problems in people, and the problem with giving medication to mentally ill people, which they in the end don't need, is very profound. You should not be giving people pills which they don't need if the station is properly behaving. No, thank you. The pill is a treatment which these people are. And the idea that that didn't make very much sense, but I'll move on. Thank you. The idea that you're giving loads of pills to these people is not necessarily true. If you're giving loads of pills to these people who are under the mental age of 16, people who are under the mental age of 16 are under the mental age of 16. They don't necessarily need to be having a large regimen of pills. They could well be not necessarily having any pills at all, but just be under care of a carer or under care of an institution. They do not necessarily need to be on large doses of pills, or they of course can be, but that's not necessarily the case. I'm now going to move on to mental age as a measure in this mechanism. Mental age is, yes, it's one measure of people being unable to be fit to actually be cognizant and be able to run their own lives. But mental age does not necessarily mean that people are mentally ill, does not necessarily, it isn't a measure of all mentally ill people. Mental age only measures people who are under a certain mental age. Some of the brightest people in history, some of the best artists, some of the best mathematicians have been people significantly over the mental age, but have still been fundamentally mentally ill. Alzheimer's, not Alzheimer's, lots of different diseases are diseases of people who are also intelligent, but can have mental illnesses which exist in people who aren't under the mental age. And mental age is a measure won't pick up on anyone who is mentally ill, who have these other conditions. So what have I said to you? That the state, first of all, that the state should be controlling these things. That the pill is a terrible way to control people having control these people having sex, control these people having children, and that mental age is a really bad measure of how mentally ill someone is.